You pick up your phone for just a moment. 40 minutes later you set it down, and something feels off. You have seen hundreds of images, read dozens of headlines, watched clips of people laughing at jokes you barely registered, and yet you feel hollow. Viktor Frankl would not have been surprised by this. Decades before the smartphone existed, he identified exactly this sensation as one of the defining wounds of modern civilization. Frankl called it the existential vacuum. It is a profound sense that life lacks direction, that the days are full but the self is somehow empty. He began observing this condition spreading through industrialized society in the 1950s and 1960s, and he wrote about it with the urgency of a doctor describing an epidemic. When human beings lose the guidance of instinct, which we largely have, and the anchor of inherited tradition, which many of us have also lost, they are set adrift. They become free, but free in a way that feels more like weightlessness than liberation. Social media, with its infinite scroll and its algorithmically optimized reward loops, is perhaps the most efficient existential vacuum machine ever built. The problem is not distraction itself. Frankl was not a Puritan. He understood that rest, play, and lightness all have their place in a full life. The deeper problem is that scrolling offers the sensation of engagement without any of its substance. You feel busy while going nowhere. You feel connected while remaining essentially alone. The algorithm is not designed to satisfy you. A satisfied user stops scrolling. It is designed to keep you just hungry enough to keep going. The feed never ends because your hunger for meaning never ends, and the platform has found a way to profit from the gap between the two. Frankl's entire therapeutic system, which he called logotherapy, rests on a single foundational claim. The primary motivation of human beings is not pleasure, as Freud argued, and not power, as Adler argued, but meaning. When meaning is genuinely present, we can endure almost anything. When it is absent, we reach for substitutes. Entertainment, consumption, the approval of strangers, these become the fillers we pour into the space where purpose should live. Social media provides all three in a frictionless, endless stream. But substitutes never meet the real need. They only delay the moment when we have to face the emptiness directly. Frankl identified three characteristic escape routes from the existential vacuum: the will to power, the will to money, and the will to pleasure. Look at the mechanics of any major social platform and you will recognize all three. The like button is a miniature power meter. The follow account is social currency. The dopamine hit of a viral post is pleasure stripped of any lasting value. We chase these metrics not because we are shallow, but because we have lost contact with something far more essential, a sense that our lives point towards something beyond themselves. His answer was not to smash the phone or retreat from modernity. It was to redirect the fundamental human energy toward what he called self-transcendence. This is the capacity to move beyond oneself toward a person worthy of love, a task worthy of effort, a cause worthy of sacrifice. Scrolling is the inverse of self-transcendence. It is self-absorption facilitated by a corporation. The gaze curves inward. How do I look? What do people think of me? How does my life compare? When Frankl's entire philosophy insists that the gaze must curve outward to find its true object. The practical implication is both simple and difficult. The cure for scrolling is not willpower exercised in a vacuum. It is meaning found in something concrete. When you have a compelling reason to be present, a conversation that genuinely matters, a project that calls for your full attention, a person who needs you, the phone loses its gravitational pull. The scroll becomes boring, not through discipline but through irrelevance. You have something better to do, and you know it. Frankl believed that boredom was more spiritually dangerous than anxiety. Anxiety, at least, signals that something matters. Boredom, and the frantic scrolling we use to escape it, signals that nothing does. The existential vacuum does not announce itself with drama. It arrives quietly, in the gap between one video and the next, in the flatness you feel after 40 minutes of stimulation that somehow added up to nothing. That flatness is worth paying attention to. It is not a malfunction. It is your deepest self sending a signal, insisting that you were built for more than this, for contribution, for love, for genuine encounter with the world beyond the screen. Frankl survived conditions of almost unimaginable horror because he found meaning even there. The invitation he extends to us is far gentler, to find meaning here, in the ordinary life we already have, before the algorithm convinces us that we haven't. Subscribe to The Psychology of Viktor Frankl to explore more of his timeless ideas.